Alright, what's good? It's Lex. Today we're going to be going over how I find my daily bias. So obviously if you watch my trade recaps, you'll kind of pick up on exactly how I do it. So let's just go ahead and go to the charts real quick. Super fucking basic, honestly. Alright. So hold on, let me clear this shit. So all I do is I go on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, right? So obviously I know that a lot of people tend to go on higher time frames to find their daily bias, which is I totally understand it, right? I totally get why they do it, and I do the same thing, but I don't necessarily use it day by day. I use it more of an indicator of how price action is going to go throughout the week. So here, let me fucking write a little text box. So go on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. Alright, so basically the way I'm explaining it is I only care about the 4 hour and the 1 hour because we're only trading it by the day, right? We're not going to hold this positioning through like fucking 10 days, 5 days, or even a day completely. We're not swing trading, we're day trading. So that's why I only care about shorter time frames. So like the 4 hour and the 1 hour, that's realistically all I give a fuck about. But overall, I tend to look at price action, kind of just sweeps of liquidity, imbalances on higher time frames, just to kind of see where price action is most likely bound to go throughout a longer period of time, not necessarily intraday, right? So keep in mind, I'm gonna just write this shit down. I don't like that. Hold on. Go on the 4 hour time frame. All right. I'll use the same one. Okay. Go on the 4 hour and the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So if I'm bullish on the 4 hour and I'm bullish on the 1 hour, I'm going to be in a bullish bias. So I'm going to be looking for sweeps of liquidity on lower time frames. Why? Just because we are bullish on both time frames, and I'm confident that price action is going to move to the upside because we have the 4 hour and the 1 hour as well being bullish. And contrary, so we also have things where we have a split bias. One of them will be bullish, the other one will be bearish. That's when I tend to wait for a higher time frame. So if we have a split biased, look for higher time frame sweep of liquidity. Shit. All right. Cool. I'm gonna just do it this way. All right. So if we have a split bias, look for a higher time frame sweep of liquidity. So that's if the 4 hour is bullish and the 1 hour is bearish. That's a split bias right there, as well as and even in contrary, if the 1 hour is bearish and the 4 hour is bullish, you know what I mean? Same shit. That's a split bias. That's when I tend to have that's again, but you're basically stating in the name, it's a mixed bias. So I'm just looking for a higher time frame sweep of liquidity. Doesn't matter what it is. And just because it is mixed, it could be either or. So I'm looking for a higher time frame sweep of liquidity, whether that be a 1 hour sweep of liquidity or a 15-minute sweep of liquidity tapped into a 1 hour imbalance. Just because, again, these are higher time frames, guys, and I'm going to wait for a higher time frame complements just because we have a mixed bias. So waiting for 1 hour sweep or 15-minute sweep within a 1 hour fair value gap. And I know I haven't explained what a fair value gap is. Yeah, that's probably going to be my next video, but fair value gaps are super simple. But yeah, that'll probably be my next video. I just want to explain how I found my daily bias going in today. But so waiting for a 1 hour sweep of liquidity within a 15-minute time frame, or 1 hour sweep of liquidity or a 15-minute sweep within a 1 hour fair value gap. So again, these are higher time frames. And again, I only care about the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame. Why? Because we're trading intraday. We're not swing trading, so I don't really care about what the fuck the daily is. And I remember I used to go on like the weekly time frame, on the fucking daily time frame, on the 4-hour, the 1-hour, the 15-minute, the 5-minute, and the 1-minute. Like, I used to confuse the shit out of myself. This is what works for me. I know a lot of traders tend to use different time frames. Guys, at the end of the day, it's just like you're finding what works for you, and this is how I win my trades. This is how I find my daily biases going into the day. This is how I find everything. And if this is another big thing, I'm dropping straight fucking sauce. Let's say if the 4-hour and the 1-hour have the same bias, why would I switch it? All right. So if the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame both have the same bias, so let's say in this situation, let's say it's bullish, right? The only way I would switch my bias is if we get a 1-hour sweep of liquidity. That is the only way I'm going to switch my bias in that situation. Why? Because this is a higher time frame sweep of liquidity, and it obviously just pushed to the downside, right? And swept 1-hour lows. A 1-hour low is a very high time frame, or not very high, but if you're day trading, it's a high time frame to get a sweep on, meaning price action most likely want to do that sweep and have a reversal, right? All right, so now that I kind of explained that, all right, so I'm gonna just go over like maybe like 3 examples or so, just showing how I find the bias. So again, I'm just marking this out of the blue. I'm not gonna mark it open, but I'm just gonna show it. All right, so on the 4-hour time frame, right? So where's the most recent low? Down here. Did we break below that? Did this body close below this low? The answer to that is no. Right, so we got a sweep of liquidity. What happened right afterwards? Swept that shit again. Had to move to the upside. But in this situation right here, so we have a high here, right? High to low, 2 candlestick pattern. I'm probably gonna say that within all my videos just so it kind of sticks to you. But high to low, got to break a structure above that high right there. So we're bullish on the 4-hour time frame, right? Let's go on the 1-hour. It's probably somewhere within over here or something. Probably over here. All right, so here. Did we get a break of structure with this candle right here? The answer to that is no. Why? Because we made a new low right here, and as you can tell, we wicked that. So that didn't break structure to the downside. Nor did we break below this low. We did get a break of structure below this low right here with this candle. So I'm just showing like literally like how to be bullish and how to be bearish. Like that's the easiest way I could explain it. All I care about is the 4-hour time frame. Here, I'll pull this up again. It's a very like small explanation, but again, if you watch my trade recaps, you will completely understand how I do it and where I'm coming from, because all I use is the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame. And again, how I explained it is typically I'll wait for a 5-minute sweep of liquidity, 15-minute sweep of liquidity, 1 hour, tapped into some fair value gaps on the 15-minute or the 5-minute time frame, or the hourly if we are bullish. And again, the only way I'm switching my bias from that is if we get a 1-hour sweep of liquidity in the contrary, right? So let's say we're bullish, we get a sweep of some highs, then I'm switching my bias because that is the manipulation move, showing continuation to the downside if we do end up obviously continuing to the downside. So again, all I care about is the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame because we're trading it intraday. I want to repeat that a couple times just so it kind of sticks to you. All I care about is the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame. And built upon that, if we have a mixed bias, the only way I'm switching it is if we get a 1-hour sweep of liquidity or a 15-minute sweep within a 1-hour for value gap. That's the only way I'm switching my bias, or that's what I'm basically looking for, whichever one comes first. So yeah, honestly, and again, best way you could obviously see this is if you watch my trade recaps. I basically show exactly how I find my bias going into the day, and I basically explain what I'm looking for right after I find my bias and why my bias is that way. All the explanations are in my trade recaps. So if this hopefully this helped out a bit, but that's the best way I could explain how I found my daily bias. And another big thing and another big factor in this as well is news. So let's go to fucking news right here. So let's go to Forex Factory. All right. So pull that up over here. Okay. So I go on Forex Factory, me personally, and the only news that I give a fucking shit about is going to be red folder news and sometimes the orange ones as well. So I'm just gonna go over both. I don't know if I should keep this in. I mean, because it is a big factor of how I'm gonna just make them both together. This is a really big factor on how I find my bias as well, or not necessarily how I find my bias, but it could go in my favor depending on the news outcome. So here, like, let's say big thing, actual greater than forecast, depending on what it says on the newsletter or whatever, that's what's gonna determine this. So actual less than forecast is good for the currency. So in this situation, whatever is good for the currency is bad for the S&P 500. That's it. Super basic explanation. Whatever is good for the currency is bad for the S&P 500. So in this situation, actual less than forecast is good for the currency. Actual less than forecast is good for the currency. So actual 231, 241. Less than forecast, that's less than forecast. Bearish for S&P 500, right? Because it's good for the currency. That's how I use news against or going into my day, trying to find my bias as well. Or another thing with news is if news is coming out right when you want to take a trade, wait for news to drop. At least give it 10 to 15 minutes, because it is super volatile to take a trade right when news comes out, because nobody knows what the outcome is going to be until it comes out, right? So it could go either or. At that point, if you're taking a trade right at news, it's basically a fucking gamble. I know a lot of people made printed absolute fucking bread on FOMC. So this came out at 11. So again, if you have experience with the markets and you kind of see what price action does with very specific news, obviously that goes in your favor as well. News is a really big factor. This is basically what moves markets through New York Stock Exchange open. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out. So again, just how to read news here. Like, let's go to federal funds rate. So again, depending on what the document says of the newsletter, that is what is going to determine if it's either bearish or bullish news. So actual greater than forecast is good for currency. All right, so actual greater than forecast. All right, so this was basically it just was the prediction or whatever. Let's go on a different one. Federal funds rate. Let's go on September. All right, this one. Core retail sales. Our actual greater than forecast is what? Good for the currency. So actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. This was bearish for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ as well, right? Because it's bearish against the S&P 500 because it's good for the currency. Okay, so that's honestly going to be my explanation on how I personally find my daily bias. Hopefully that made sense to you. If you need more help or you need anything else, basically, honestly, just comment down below. I'll probably end up making, honestly, on all the videos that I'm going to make, I'm probably going to make part 2 just to fucking, just any questions that people might have that I missed out on. But hopefully this made sense to you. And yeah, honestly, the best way you can honestly review this and it can make more sense to you is to watch my trade recaps, because that's me finding my entire bias for the day. And yeah, that's basically how I use news and how I find the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame to determine what type of trade or the direction of the trade I'm going to be taking, whether it be to the upside or to the downside, right? So, all right, bro, I'll catch you on the next one.